a public hearing on Senate Bill 1526 and mention that there are 4 folks, including myself, that are going to give testimony. So myself and Bennett and Reed and Gregory. I don't know if some of those might be online as well. And then I just want to let folks know that Chris Allnap is here to provide any testimony and any question, available for questions if needed. So, and while Beth is explaining that, I'm going to the next, please. Are they all online?
Committee members, Senate Bill 1526 directs the Oregon Department of Energy to seek grant funding to convene a founding board, and upon securing sufficient funds, directs the board to establish a nonprofit entity to finance clean energy and resilience projects.
Thank you so much. Madam Chair.
Are those other members, are they all, so Bennett, all online?
So do we have Bennett Byerly, Reed Mayfield, and Gregory Miller?
There we go.
There we go. So we'll start, of course, with you, Chair Sollman.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Vice Chair Brock Smith and members of the committee, for the record, I'm Janine Sollman. I'm the state senator for Senate District 15, which includes areas of Forest Grove, Cornelius, Hillsborough, and the Rock Creek area of Western Washington County, Oregon's CHIPS Culture and Commerce District. I am here today in support of Senate Bill 1526, the FORGE Act, the Fund for Oregon Resilience, Growth, and Energy. This is another committee bill coming before us, and I'm excited to talk further about this. The bill authorizes the State Department of Energy to take the initial steps needed to form a nonprofit financing entity that can help Oregon communities deliver energy and resilience projects at scale without committing state general fund dollars. Once sufficient grant funding is secured, the Department of Energy must recruit and convene a founding board, must open that up for opportunity for a founding board that will be tasked with forming the revolving loan, which with the purpose of financing energy and resilience projects, such as clean energy generation, storage, energy efficiency, greenhouse gas reductions, and resilience upgrades to infrastructure, buildings, and natural working lands, much like we talked about tide gates and such. In summary, Senate Bill 1526 does not create a new spending program. It creates a careful, phased framework that allows Oregon to explore a financing model capable of delivering energy resilience and infrastructure projects more efficiently while maintaining fiscal discipline and legislative oversight. This bill is about both economic development to get projects funded and people. It is about creative solutions when we are facing difficult budget times. We know that dollars for environmental projects are being halted at the federal level, and we need to come up with ways that move these initiatives, keep them moving forward. This revolving loan fund will give us another tool to utilize, and I respectfully urge the committee to support Senate Bill 1526. I just also want to mention we do have a few amendments that are that we will be making on this bill, which to summarize, we have talked to the labor industry about adding a labor representative to the board, as they have participated in a lot of these projects that folks are talking about, whether they're community solar, whether that is coastal projects, wherever they are across the state. So we want to make sure that they have a voice at that table being represented as these projects move forward. We also heard from our Municipal Electrical Utilities Association and are amending a couple of things they pointed out that would be helpful for them in our PUDs and co-ops. Amending the bill to remove the word transmission. We're amending the bill to include language around the next steps after the board is formed to confirm that ODE will not be overseeing the board, that the board will be independent. We checked with legislative counsel who are here today to answer any questions on the record. But so we do have a question that we may want to that I may want to get on the record too. And we also want to clarify for the record that the goal of this is financing to be complementary to other existing forms of capital and creating this kind of revolving loan program. So with that, I will turn it over. I don't know who would like to, I don't know who's next on the.
So next, we'll have Ben Byerly.
Great. Thank you all so much. And thank you for taking time to speak about this today, about SB 1526. I'm Bennett Byerly. I serve as Director of Finance at S2 Strategies, an energy policy advisory firm that works with state governments across the country. I work very closely with similar energy finance institutions that could be very similar to what Forge may represent. From our organization's experience, a fund like Forge can be one of the most cost-effective, highest ROI economic tools that states can use to drive investment in resilience and energy solutions, especially in rural and underinvested communities. Briefly, I want to draw attention to 3 key outcomes that a fund like this could deliver. First, in financing real incremental projects. A fund like this can help fill market gaps and attract private capital to invest in projects that are otherwise not getting built. Across the country, we see similar funds that invest in projects that reduce energy costs and enhance the resilience of local infrastructure. Some common examples of projects include home hardening, fire resistance for municipal buildings, energy storage on police, fire, and first responder stations, backup power for healthcare centers, and solar and energy efficiency projects that reduce costs for schools and school districts. These are all examples of projects that we've seen financed through similar examples to this fund, as they tend to lack traditional sources of capital and need the technical guidance and assistance that a fund like this could provide. Second, a fund like this can be well positioned to drive growth in rural and coastal communities in Oregon, as those are often underserved by traditional investors. Especially in those areas, Forge could drive economic growth, jobs, and investment, while also improving the resilience of local infrastructure. Third, a fund like this is a fiscally responsible tool for economic development. It is intended to recycle and revolve capital, allowing for capital from a variety of sources to be leveraged with and use limited public dollars that can be stretched further over time. This model is having growing success in diverse states across the country to address rising energy costs and resilience needs. And Forge has the capability to efficiently learn from and replicate the successes and programs that are seen in other states without needing to reinvent the wheel. And it can benefit from this growing field of national expertise. Thank you again, and happy to answer any questions that may be useful.
Great, thank you so much. And would you mind holding on just for a bit, just in case there are some questions that come towards it?
Of course.
Perfect. Thank you so much for joining. With that, we will hear from Reed Mayfield. Is Reed on?
Hello. Good afternoon, Chair Sollman, Vice Chair Brocksmith, and members of the committee. My name is Reed Mayfield, and I'm a Vice President at Beneficial State Bank. Over my 15 years in banking, I've worked directly with many businesses, nonprofits, and developers in Oregon, seeking financing for projects that serve our local community. I'm here today to show our support for SB 1526, which we believe would address capital access challenges and benefit Oregon's critical industries, schools, housing developments, and grid resilience. Beneficial State Bank is an FDIC-insured community development financial institution. We serve small businesses, nonprofits, affordable housing, and renewable energy projects. Since our founding, we financed over 17,000 affordable housing units and deployed more than $166 million in renewable energy financing. In 2024, as an example, 65% of our lending activity by dollar volume served low-income communities. We regularly finance construction for affordable housing, commercial solar, and energy efficiency. We understand how to structure deals involving tax credit equity, utility incentives, and state grant programs. We know from this extensive experience that the needs in our state currently exceed the available capital supply. Beneficial State Bank supports SB 1526 because we believe it can unlock critical private investment in the energy and resilience projects that Oregon needs. By building predictable, scaled investment pipelines, the bill could support municipalities, nonprofits, and developers to move projects from planning to construction faster and with stronger capital access. Based on our experience, we believe the Forge Act would address critical financing gaps in 3 key ways. First, Forge's flexible capital would enable financing for viable projects, businesses, and community organizations seeking to install solar and energy storage assets that currently fall outside of conventional credit and underwriting parameters. These are long-term and sound investments with clear public benefit. When capital can absorb early stage risk, it makes these bankable projects bankable and allows institutions like ours and the many other local banking institutions to participate with confidence. Second, the fund would leverage available capital through public-private partnerships. Should the fund provide credit enhancements or subordinated debt, banks can deploy significantly more capital at better terms. We know from programs like new market tax credits, the flexible public funding catalyzes significantly more private funding and lending. In the case of new market tax credits, it generated an 8-to-1 private to federal funding ratio. Third, Forge's patient, affordable capital would give early stage developers the runway to build operating history and track record that commercial lenders need to see. By providing flexible financing terms, Forge would help earlier and existing organizations grow into bankable credits. In closing, the Forge Act would help create the infrastructure our state needs for deploying patient, flexible capital that works alongside private financing. As a banker who evaluates project feasibility daily, I can tell you this approach works. Oregon has the project pipeline, community needs, and technical capacity to deploy these resources effectively. What's been missing is the mechanism to bridge persistent financing gaps, and that's exactly what SB 1526 could provide. On behalf of Beneficial State Bank, I urge you to move this bill forward. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you so much. Appreciate you being here. You came to keep me company there, and then I abandoned you. I am so sorry.
That's okay. It felt very welcoming.
Yes. So please.
Thank you, Chair Sollman, members of the committee. My name is Greg Miller, here today on behalf of the League of Oregon Cities. At the League, we represent 241 incorporated cities across the state, geographically dispersed in every corner, I would say, except for maybe the southeast corner in Malheur County, where there's just nothing. But of those 241 cities, we characterize about 75% of them as small cities with small budgets. And when presented with the idea of the Forge Act, we were excited about the idea of being able to access capital that would allow us to conduct projects, as Senator Sollman referenced, may not be ready to take off yet, but for some extra dollars. So we saw this as a definite benefit that cities will try to access resources in the Forge Act to get those projects going. And then on the economic side of it, just the job creation, the tertiary spending that happens in small cities when you have public works projects adds to the local economy. So we were definitely trying to look at it through that lens as well of how do we help those 75% of small cities in Oregon start to bridge the gap on their infrastructure gap. I won't tell you what the real number is because it doesn't sound real, but in a recent survey, it shows that there are billions of dollars in infrastructure projects that cities need to undertake in Oregon. We definitely don't have those resources, and so small tools like this start helping to bridge that gap so that cities can get those projects done and at the same time try to grow their local economies. The final thing is, as it relates to growth, developers, business owners, in small rural areas of the state, if they can see the commitment to those public works projects, that in some cases can help businesses and economics grow if they know that they've got certainty in transportation, energy, water, et cetera, et cetera. So happy to take any questions, but thank you for your time today.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate you being here. I am, before I start calling on some other folks to come up, I do, because his limited time, I would like to ask Chris Allnut to please come forward. And I think that it would be, I just want to ask this very specific question to make sure that we have this on the record. So can the public purpose charge or the energy supplier assessment, the ESA, be changed by the independent board created under this bill?
Chair Sollman, Vice Chair Senator Smith, members of the committee. Just for the record, my name is Chris Allnut. I'm Deputy Legislative Counsel with the Office of Legislative Counsel. To answer your question, no, this board or this nonprofit entity would have no authority to change the public purpose charge or the energy siting assessment or special assessment.
Great, thank you. Does anyone else have any questions for Mr. Allnut? Because I know he's on a limited time schedule because we keep him incredibly busy in this building. Okay, I do not, thank you so much for being sure to get that on the record. With that, I want to call, joining remotely is Ben Brent. He can provide testimony, and then perhaps afterwards, if those who presented wouldn't mind just sticking around for just a little bit in case a question comes up, if that's okay. I wanted to make sure. So, Mr. Brent, yes, please.
Yes, hi, Chair Sollman, can you hear me?
Yes.
Perfect. Well, Chair Sollman, Vice Chair Brock-Smith, and members of the committee, thank you for the opportunity to testify today. My name is Ben Brent, and I'm here on behalf of Oregon Environmental Council and our thousands of members throughout the state in strong support of SB 1526, the Forge Act. This bill will create clean energy jobs and drive economic development across Oregon. Let me start with what's at stake. Oregon's clean energy sector already employs nearly 60,000 people. These are construction, manufacturing, and operations jobs rooted in local communities that cannot be outsourced. However, the sector is under real threat. We've seen tariffs on materials, federal rollbacks of clean energy tax credits through HR 1, and depleted state program funding, all driving up energy costs and hurting job growth. We can't afford for Oregon to lose ground in one of the fastest growing sectors of our economy. The Forge Act is an important clean energy job and economic development tool. By directing the Department of Energy, Oregon Department of Energy, to apply for grant money to capitalize this revolving loan fund, we can unlock public and private investment and keep Oregonians working. Other states with similar revolving loan funds prove that this model works. Connecticut's Green Big has supported the creation of over 30,000 jobs since 2011, and the Colorado Clean Energy Fund increased its lending capacity tenfold in less than 3 years. This is about making our state competitive. It's giving us needed cost-effective financing tools, as you've heard about already, that'll strengthen our economy and keep capital flowing in the state. So on behalf of Oregon Environmental Council, urge you all to strongly support SB 1526 and invest in our economic future. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you. Really appreciate you taking the time to be here. With that, I'll call up Tom Holt. And then on deck will be Michael Johnson joining remotely.
Good afternoon, Chair Sollman, Vice Chair Brock-Smith, and members of the committee. For the record, Tom Holt here today on behalf of Cascade Policy Institute. I'm pinch hitting for John Charles, whose longer testimony is posted to OLIS. Respectfully in opposition to this bill in that it is duplicative of the many private sector, nonprofit, and for-profit efforts in this space. There's a lot of exciting things happening in clean energy development, and from Cascade's perspective, a lot more would need to be done on this before moving it forward in the way of due diligence. Also concerns about extending bonding authority for what this new entity would be, especially again in light of the many private sector efforts that are well established and well funded.
one of the more well-known is the Energy Trust of Oregon, does a lot of work in this space for smaller things, but funded by all of our utility bills, and a little assessment on those. And so we, you know, although it's bonding authority, not general fund, our bonding authority is not limited. And there are a lot of other compelling things where there is not private sector effort underway that can be fixed with bond authority. So with that, I'll leave you to refer you to the more complete testimony that's on OLIS. Thank you.
Thank you. And I apologize, is it Mikel or Michael? And then Ranfis, you will be on deck. Yeah, please, you can come forward. Yes.
Good afternoon, Chair Sollman, Vice Chair Brock-Smith, and members of the committee. For the record, my name is Michael Johnson, and I am here today on behalf of the Northwest Native Chamber. We strongly support the proposal directing the Oregon Department of Energy to pursue the creation of an Oregon Energy and Resilience Infrastructure Fund. The Northwest Native Chamber works every day to strengthen tribal contractors and workforce pathways. Our goal is to turn our communities into owners, employers, and leaders of growth. We focus on contractor readiness, small business growth, and creating clear pathways into family wage jobs. Through partnerships with tribal governments and community organizations, we provide training and technical assistance, and we enable tribal enterprises to compete for and successfully deliver major infrastructure and energy projects. Through partnerships with tribal governments and community organizations, we build performance certification opportunities to support healthy homes and invest into local workforce. Northwest Native Chamber pairs fully funded education and training opportunities with mentorship and prioritizes building community within our growing network of emerging Native professionals. Our cultural traditions teach us to take the long view, to sow now so we can reap later, and the bill before you today does exactly that. It won't cost the state, but it will make sure that we are ready to move quickly when the time is right. We are particularly encouraged by the emphasis on collaboration between ODOE, the Oregon Business Development Department, and a future nonprofit entity. This is a structure that can attract and deploy capital at scale, one that can catalyze growth by ensuring workforce and contractor development are embedded into project financing from the start. Done well, this approach can unlock durable economic benefits alongside energy and resilience outcomes. It can enable growth in tribal and rural communities, parts of Oregon that are too often left behind. We strongly support this proposal and urge your support as well. Thank you for your leadership and your time.
Thank you so much for being here and giving your time today. Yes, hello, welcome.
Hello.
It's very sensitive.
It is very sensitive. Chair Sollman, Vice Chair Brock-Smith, members of the committee. For the record, my name is Ranfis Centino Viatoro. I'm the Senior Policy Manager with Blue Green Alliance. We're a coalition of environmental organizations and labor organizations aim to address our environmental challenges while creating good, quality jobs. Today I'm here to testify as a neutral support for 1526, but I will probably update soon with our position, but just want to say we generally enthusiastically support efforts like the Forge Act and the ability to deploy more tools in the toolkit to further, one, help Oregonians build further assets, deploy clean energy and energy resilience projects, to continue to employ Oregonians in the deployment of said technologies and leverage private capital in these investments. So in all, in some summation, we support, we'll be supporting the changes that have been proposed. I just want to thank the Senator again for that opportunity to be able to weigh in on that. And yep, I will be submitting my testimony further explaining our position. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for being here, providing testimony. With that, I will go to Rebecca Smith is in person, and then also Lauren Link. Can come forward. Yeah, sure. Those are our two final folks. I know it's very sensitive. Those are our two final folks here to testify today. So thank you.
Great, thank you. Chair Sollman, Vice Chair Brock-Smith, members of the committee. My name is Rebecca Smith. I'm the Senior Director of Policy and education for the Renewable Hydrogen Alliance, or RHA. We are a member-based nonprofit here in the Northwest focused on access to safe, affordable, and renewable hydrogen for communities. We are over 80-plus members, span the entire hydrogen value chain. We've got manufacturers of technology, service providers, project developers, public transit agencies, labor unions, utilities, and many others. And thank you for the opportunity to testify in support of 1526 on behalf of our members and RHA. The Forge Act would create essentially a green bank, and green banks are increasingly a common tool for state governments to support financing the development of energy infrastructure projects, those aligned with the state's climate and energy goals. Washington State, for example, is one of the handful I think we talked about that has established a green bank to pursue financing resources. And so establishing a similar mechanism here in Oregon would help maintain a competitive environment for energy development in the state. Low carbon and renewable hydrogen projects tend to be large, with multiple project partners, off-takers, infrastructure requirements. Since the federal government has seen fit to defund the Pacific Northwest Hydrogen Hub, there's now a gap in public sector funding for renewable and clean hydrogen and other clean fuels projects. The Pacific Northwest Hydrogen Hub had secured a 5-to-1 private match, meaning that the private sector was ponying up $5 billion in capital for that $1 billion from the federal government. So missing that, growing Oregon's clean fuels portfolio will be an essential part of achieving the state's energy goals and aligning, for example, with the governor's recently released prosperity roadmap. And it also fits in with the recommendations of ODO's released Oregon Energy Strategy. I'll leave that for now. I will file longer comments. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Chair Sollman, Vice Chair Brock-Smith, and members of the committee. Thank you for the opportunity to testify today in support of SB 1526. For the record, my name is Lauren Link. I'm State Policy Advisor for the Nature Conservancy here in Oregon. The Nature Conservancy is a nonpartisan, science-based organization working across the state. We manage lands and waters and varied ecosystems, and we partner with ranchers, fishers, farmers, small forest owners, and community members on some of the most challenging conservation issues facing people and nature. TNC has a long history of working with community, agency, and tribal partners to conduct habitat restoration projects that create sustainable habitats for wildlife and people. We have seen firsthand that maximizing resilience and conserving our most sensitive ecosystems and productive working lands can also create good jobs. For example, in our Connecting Canopies program, where we work with partners to increase urban tree canopy, reduce heat island effect, and build out our green infrastructure workforce. And we have another great example in our robust Fire Partnership program, which supports healthy and resilient ecosystems and fire-adapted communities, while also creating, training, and deploying a workforce. All this is the reason that we're supporting SB 1526. We see this bill as a way to fund critical restoration projects, energy infrastructure, and resilience strategies that benefit people and nature. So with that, we urge the committee to move SB 1526 forward, and thank you very much.
Thank you. Colleagues, does anyone have any questions regarding this policy at this time? I think, and I appreciate everyone providing testimony and the folks joining online, some of the experts in this area. This is a real, again, a really exciting opportunity as this was explored. I talked to folks at NCSL and NCEL about these opportunities to look for ways at how we can help economic development within our state, especially as I mentioned, as we're seeing declining dollars invested from our federal government, and the ability to help get people to work and also produce really good projects in Oregon that can help move us forward in a most positive way. So I'm really excited about this opportunity and look forward to moving it forward. So anyone else have any? Okay. Well, thank you so much for that. I'm going to close the hearing for Senate Bill 1526, and I'm going to open up a hearing